Round one. Fight!
Nosfera, does this word not sound like the death bird culling the living dead at dawn? It is the name both ghouls and demons dare not say, for they know it means death for the undead.
Threaten me. Physically threaten me.
Dean Cain, American heartthrob, Superman to millions. He's patriotic, smart, kind, and very generous. Maybe too generous. He's recently made friends with Gabe El-Taib, co-creator of the amazing new comic, Truth, Justice, American Way. Dean has put his full-throated support behind this book. Or has he? Okay, this is the last thing, and I will get you the heck out of here. Do you think people should buy right now? Should they click the link and buy Truth, Justice, American Way? And why is it the greatest comic book ever? Why do you think that?
Well, they should buy it for sure, without a doubt. Right now, click it, go. I'm going to do it after this is over. So if I did it now, I think weird things would happen. And they should do it because Gabe is a big man and they physically threatened me.
Physically threaten me. Physically threaten me.
If I didn't say this,
That's right.
that he was going to choke me out and teach me what truth, justice, and the American way is all about. So I can't wait to see it. I love it that it's counterculture, and it's counterculture just being patriotic and standing for all the things that I stand for. I can't wait.
Okay, well, thank you so much. So what's the truth about Gabe El-Taib? Madman, artist, poet, gentle lover? It doesn't matter. Buy the book or Dean Cain gets it.
Physically threaten me.
Welcome, friends. It is Wednesday, May 25th. I can't believe it's taken us this long to get to Top Gun, one of the greatest hits from the 80s. If you love macho action adventure and all that. And I got to tell you, being a San Diegan myself, this movie holds a special place in my heart. I have been to many of the locales in the movie. We know where the home is, where the girlfriend lives. We know where the officers club is. The barbecue place is right across the street from the San Diego Convention Center. I spent so much of my childhood on the NAS Miramar, Naval Air Station Miramar. But before I get to any of that, let me bring in my beautiful, talented, wonderful friend, the great Shantan Jetty. How are you doing, friend?
I am doing great. It's great to see everybody in the chat. How are you doing, brother?
Oh, I am super califragilistic. I'm having a great day. I'm working on Beef Law. I'm drawing a lot of that. Dave is showing me new art for Truth, Justice, American Way and new stuff for Bass Reeves. So we're humming along, a lot of great things. Congratulations to you, first of all.
Thank you.
1,000 subs, monetized channel. Let's go. Have you got a super chat yet, or do I still have a chance to give you your?
No, I have not, because I haven't streamed since monetization was at 1:40 a.m. last night, and then I'll probably do a stream later tonight, man. See where it goes.
Try and jump in and give you 99 cents.
That's right, man. I appreciate it. Hey, every cent counts.
Right. Oh, we already have a super chat right up the back. Look at this.
That's right,
Harold
man.
Weaver, a great patron of mine. He bought a original bust from me for the Truth, Justice, American Way campaign. I'm gonna do I think a justice sketch for him. I have it in my notes. And then he bought a Cecil drawing I did way back in November, December.
Oh, nice.
Perfect night for hanging with the boys. Soundtrack to this is so good, by the way. And American Badassery. No Maverick spoilers, please. LOL. Glad y'all not lost that love and feeling for the 80s. Oh my gosh. Why did it take us so long to get to this one?
I think there's no time like the right time, but you'd think it would have come sooner. I've got so many Top Gun stories, man. I know you do too.
Gosh. Does this movie take your breath away, first of all?
It does. And before you get to your considerable, your considerable Top Gun history yourself, I have to tell you guys this. So I have often joked about that I was both fearless and, dare I say, idiotically fearless when it came to talking to girls. I did not care. And when this movie came out, I must have been in like 5th or 6th grade.
Right.
And there was this girl I had a crush on, and I had my guy friends back me up as I sang, "You've lost this love and feelings." You were out on the playground. I'm not kidding.
How hard did she shoot you down?
Pretty good. It was great. Yeah, I crashed and burned. It was great. But I haunted her dreams.
Oh,
It's like, oh my Lord, man.
You never close your
eyes anymore when I kiss your lips.
Oh,
and there's no tenderness like before in your fingertips.
Come on.
Those were the days, you know.
Hard not to show it. Come on, Sean. No, we're not.
But baby, I know it.
There you go.
You've lost that love and feeling. Oh, that love and feeling. Come on, chat. You've lost that love and feeling. Now it's gone. Whoa, whoa.
Oh my gosh, I love this movie. It's so good. So being a San Diegan, we love this because it's the Marine Corps Air Station now, but it was growing up, it was NAS Miramar, Naval Air Station. That's where they filmed a ton of this movie. And we take a lot of pride here. San Diego has more military people per capita than like any city in America, maybe in the world. Well over a quarter of the people here are military. All of my friends' dads, Navy guys, submarines, pilots. My next door neighbor flew like the AWAC. I thought it was such a cool plane. It has a big radar dish on top. It's like a flying radar. And I was obsessed with the F-14 Tomcat. And I was telling Sean before the show, we have an air show here every October called the Miramar Air Show. And it's got the Blue Angels. That's like F-18 squadron. They're doing all these tricks. And there's Harriers. There's F-15s. It's really amazing. It's so much fun. So this is a movie near and dear to my heart. I've been to that officers club because our neighbors, the guy that flew that flying radar, for some reason, there was some ceremony or promotion or something. I was a kid. I was like a 5th grader. So he was being honored for something. So I've been to that club, that officers club on Miramar.
I've been all over that base, and we used to ball there all the time in the 90s, me and my buddies, because his dad was in the Navy, so we could get on base easy and then go play basketball there all the time, and it was really fun. I have a lot of fond memories of Miramar, and to this day, living in San Diego, I mean, if you live within a 10, 15-mile radius of the base, you can see the jets flying around all the time. It's totally normal to be driving on the 15 south or north, and jets will just be flying right over you. F-15, Ospreys, everything. They're just flying right over the freeway because the base is right next to it. So this is Fighter Town, USA. You know, that's Top Gun is right here. They moved it out to, I think Clinton did reallocation of where the bases are. And I believe Top Gun has been out in Nevada for like 20-something years now. So that's too bad. It's a Marine Corps station instead of Navy, but we love it, love it, love it. And if you get down to San Diego Comic-Con, I may have already said this, across the street from the Hyatt, which is right next to the convention center, there's that Kansas City barbecue, and that's the place featured in the movie too.
Oh, so, my gosh.
Yeah.
I only heard was barbecue, but listen.
Absolutely. Oh, and then another one too, another connection I have to this movie. I was telling Sean, my brother's, I think it was 8th grade biology teacher, Mr. Bird. He was on the U.S. Olympic volleyball team, like in 1984. He is Iceman in the movie. He was like the body double playing volleyball and all that. So again, being a San Diegan, we're just so connected to this movie. Absolutely love it. For those of you that don't know this, the movie, you want me to give a quick synopsis, Sean? Or?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Okay. Well, here, let me add this to the stream really quick so we can just have a little visual here. Top Gun, you got Pete Maverick Mitchell and his buddy. What the hell is Goose's name? Nick. It's Nick Goose something or other. We always know them as Maverick and Goose.
That's right.
Yeah, and they're naval fighter pilots. And what's the inciting incident? Oh yeah, Tom Cruise. Maverick, he intercepts some enemy fighters like in U.S. territory or whatever. So because of this spectacular job he does being a pilot, him and Goose right there, and that is that Anthony Edwards from ER. They get I guess invited to go to Top Gun in San Diego, California, to learn to be the best of the best, the 1% of fighter pilots. They go there, and of course, his namesake Maverick doesn't know how to be a team player, blah 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 blah, and he also tries to strike up a romance with the teacher from the class.
To us all.
What was her? It was like Carrie or Charlie or what is her name?
Charlie, I think.
Charlie. Charlotte. Charlie. I think her name is Charlotte, and they call her Charlie.
Sure.
In real life, it's Kelly McGillis. Sorry.
And, exactly. That's what I referred to her as. I'm like, and right. Kelly McGillis.
Right. So he doesn't want to be a team player because he's Maverick and this and that, and he's getting yelled at by the instructor, the main instructor guy, and they go forward a little bit, and there's more training. And in one of the trainings, unfortunately, let me see if I have a picture of it here. My daughter always gathers me photos before the show starts. Oh, they have to eject Goose and Maverick because their jet goes into a tailspin. And when they eject, Goose like hits his neck on the thing, like breaks his neck, and he gets killed. And it's really heartbreaking for Maverick. And he's really disillusioned. He doesn't know what to do. Is he a disaster? Does he need to quit? Does he need to go forward? And the commanding officer, I believe it's Viper or Jester. Is it Viper? The commanding guy, the head of Top Gun, lets him know a secret now. There's a twist here in the second act, good writing, that his dad, Maverick's dad, was Viper's old partner. And he was on the mission where Maverick's dad died with glory and honor, like sacrificial death. And it inspires him to keep persevering through the tragedy of losing his best buddy Goose. And also, of course, Val Kilmer's in this, and he's Iceman, and he's so good in this. And he don't like Maverick. Why doesn't he like him, Sean? What's he telling him? He's like, I don't like you. What does he do?
I think you're dangerous.
And then he goes, and he does
this.
Yes,
that's right.
And the Foley, like the sound effect guy, just made this like wooden, like giant horse teeth clumping when he does it. It's a great
his teeth shoot out of his mouth. It's like chiclets.
Right. So then, so Maverick, he gets over being really sad about his buddy and says, I got to go forward and, in his honor or whatever. And he graduates Top Gun. Then they get a real mission where enemy fighters have, what's going on there? It's like a ship is drifted into
it's
enemy
disabled
water.
And it's drifted into enemy territory.
Right. And then he ends up shooting down a bunch of the ships, a bunch of the enemy aircraft. And him and Iceman save the day by killing a bunch of the bad guys. I think a couple of them get away. They fly away. And then, we're happy. We're buddies. And we feel the need for speed. So Top Gun, it's an American classic. It's action-packed. It's sexy. It's cool. And it really teaches you on an emotional level, again, about overcoming heartbreak, which I think is what separates a boy from a man to me is
Mhm.
emotional regulation. If I can
Yeah.
have an emotion, but I don't have to do what it says, if that emotion is telling me to do something evil or destructive or selfish, I don't have to listen to it. It's okay that I have that dumb idea in my head. I can just tell it no, and I can persevere. So I think it's a great one. So
Yeah.
there's my synopsis. I hope I got it. I hope I didn't mess up any major details.
Yeah.
But what do you have to say about any of that, my friend?
Well, the only big thing that I also think is important to point out is that one of the reasons, and someone got this in the chat, that Maverick doesn't have the best name in the Navy is because the official story about his father was that he didn't do it right. And what
Oh,
Viper gives him was he goes, so he did it right? Yeah, what I'm telling you is classified. And he's like, he did do it right. And
That's
it's
right.
like, heck yeah. I mean, it's John,
what
really sorry. Emotional damage.
emotional damage.
That's right. Oh man, I tell you what
Yeah.
though, it is the greatest. It's a great flick. It's kind of amazing to think about how short this movie was, in terms of running time and how many characters you got deeply invested in. I think about Cougar and Merlin in the beginning
Right.
when he gets freaked out by their by they're getting engaged by those MiGs, and he's just can't he can't recover, and Maverick is running low on fuel, and Goose, who's kind of, it's interesting because in that story, the thing that gets me, Meg Ryan did, is in that story.
Yeah, she did.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Is that Goose is kind of like he's a family man. He's the guy who is the responsible one that Maverick's always, he's the one person especially that both encourages Maverick, but Maverick always feels the most guilty for
Right.
getting, screwing up for. And when that happens, he doesn't have Goose anymore to talk to. You know what I mean? And to say,
Right.
hey, it's, and there you go. There's how they set you up in this.
Right.
Right there. That's the shot that
Right.
makes it.
So even though they're young, Goose is already like a family man and stuff. They're
right.
young hot shots, but he loves his wife and his little son or whatever. And
Mhm.
so that makes it, one thing in writing that in bad writing that you see is they have the moment and they don't earn the moment emotionally. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're just like, ooh, and then this crazy thing happened. And you're like, yeah, but you didn't set it up. And in here,
Yep.
you see the brotherhood, the love between Goose and Maverick, but then you see the pure love between this husband and wife and the son and all that. And he's playing Great Balls of Fire, and they're just going crazy. And you can just tell how in love they are. You know what I mean? And then Maverick blames himself for, being a hot shot or whatever and getting his friend killed. And it is heartbreaking, So,
Yeah.
and I think, I don't know if this is the perfect 80s movie, but it's one of them because
Yeah.
it really encapsulates. I don't need to make up words. There are plenty of them. But to me, what it crystallizes is that hopeful time, left wing, right wing, whatever. Everyone loved America, and America felt so confident and hopeful. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know. I was only a little kid, so maybe I had rose-colored glasses of
Well,
kids. Are
our
not
culture
cynical.
certainly did. I think during that time, though, this is the thing that I would say. There's always a group of people seething about patriotic films and people feeling positive. Shoot, there's always a group of people seething. What's up, Louis Filet, Mighty Geek Studios, and everybody in the chat, by the way. It's great to see all of you guys. Angela Curry, Hardware Wars, Jarrett Weaver, Hunch the Dirty Roofer. God, you guys kill me with your names.
Right.
One day I'm going to say something worse than the names. Paul Gibb. Let's see who else we've got here. John, of course, always keeping it down there.
Right?
Down.
Oh, John got modded last night too.
Yeah, he did. I'm
Yeah,
telling you
made
what,
him
the
a
mod
mod.
wars are real.
He was
Tari's here.
zapping those filthy Russian porno bots or Chechen or wherever they.
I'm sorry
just love-
about sending
yeah.
those to you, Gabe. No, Scottsley. Scottsley is
I
here.
lend you my computer one time. No,
I know, seriously. I was like, you're like, why'd all the cookies get cleared out? No.
I have a funny story about that. So in college, I was telling my friend about how to clear out your web browser in Windows. Now, I've had a Mac since 2001, so I don't remember. But whatever it is you do in Internet Explorer, whatever, to erase your history, I explained to him how to do it because he didn't know how to do it. And because he needed to clear it out for some reason. And I knew a lot about computers because I'd taken a lot of computer classes. And he called me like a week later.
Mhm.
He's like, hey, that thing you showed me on the computer? He's like, how do you do that again? And I just had to laugh at him on the phone.
That's
So,
sometimes you got to, man.
I will leave the rest to your imaginations.
Yeah, man. It's this movie is great on a lot of levels, but the biggest thing it's about that is kind of a little bit of a dirty word, I think. And I mean, literally, you can go to the slang. It is no joke. The expression, "Stop being such a tryhard."
Right.
Stop. All of this stuff. And all the slang that started, we had a little bit of that in the 80s too, obviously, the equivalent to same being ditto, all that stuff that was happening. But with Top Gun, it's about exceptionalism. And it's about American exceptionalism, exceptional people doing exceptional things,
Right.
and what it is when you're on that, that trajectory, when you're trying to be an elite fighter pilot, and the people who are there and who are going to call upon you to do the best that you can. And excellence is something that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And I think what Tom Cruise did with Maverick and Goose was they were the people that shouldn't have been there, in a sense. People were already saying that, right? Cougar was number one, but he handed in his wings, and so now you're number one. I got to send you guys. He goes, I got to do something I can't believe. I got to send you two to Top Gun.
Right.
Like, I love that guy. You'll be flying a cargo plane of rubber dog shit out of Hong Kong.
I love that.
But so the two things I got from this, that's how it looked exactly when I was serenading her. And I will tell you this, when I joined Comicsgate, I had a hairline like Tom Cruise. Now I have one like Goose. It is what it is. Listen, it comes for us all, people. But my favorite thing about this movie that we always did or quoted is we would sit in class and we would do the pen twirl all the time.
Right.
We would just be, twirling the pen through our fingers. The other thing we did is whenever people would talk, we'd go, bullshit. Like, we would do that all the time, man.
Oh my gosh. You're bringing back memories of my math class junior year. We were doing all kinds of stuff like that. A few years late, but absolutely.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? When these guys get together, and it really is, amen. And it really is about excellence, and it really is about making these things happen. They wrote a compelling story. They gave you heroes. The heroes went through different trials, and you can see whether it's I'm trying to remember the dude's name. It's killing me now. It was Nick. Shoot, hang on a second. It was Nick Bradshaw. That was Goose's real name, which is why nobody remembers it. It's a really
that's a Marvel Comics cover artist who he doesn't copy, but he's in the school of Arthur Adams, Nicholas Bradshaw, I believe.
Yeah.
It's
so funny because who doesn't pen twirl to this day? Exactly, right. That's right. Yeah, we all have to do it, man. Right. We all have to do it. And my favorite pilot when I was watching that movie was always Iceman. I loved Wolfman because of his name and his helmet. I always thought those guys were hilarious, Hollywood and Wolfman. But I gotta say, Iceman I just thought was such a cool character with all the little things he did. But how Val played it when Goose dies, and he goes to talk to Maverick, and he goes, "I'm sorry about Goose. Everybody liked him," and he just doesn't, like, he's trying, to talk to Maverick, but he just hasn't got the thing. You know what I mean? He hasn't got that gear. It's in there, but he is ice cold. He is tough to open up to people, and but by the end, these guys are brothers. And in a way, what's fascinating about it is he loses Goose in that terrible accident, but he reforms a new bond with a new brother, which is the most unlikely person he could have formed a bond with, which is Iceman. He melts Iceman. There, I said it.
There you go. Because Iceman starts off, "I don't like you. You're dangerous." The big clumping.
You're not wrong, Jared Weaver. I think about that all the time, man. If he had just disengaged sooner, Maverick wouldn't have flown through his jet wash, and Goose would still be with us. There, I said it.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. Absolutely right.
Yeah. He was warned not to do the maneuver that led to the plane flipping out, and then Buddy with the broken neck and a widow gets the folded up flag. But so I think Miles Teller, that young man, I've seen him in the trailer for the new one, and he has a mustache. I'm pretty sure I picked up that he's supposed to be Goose's son.
Yes.
I don't know. So that's going to be a very interesting dynamic. So I'm very excited. I mean, I'm definitely going to go see it. I think it's going to be a hit this weekend. And I think Tom Cruise, and I mean this as a compliment, it's like McDonald's. You know what you're going to get with him, always. Like that. I was talking to David Williams on the phone today, as we are wont to do. And we were talking about Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible franchise.
Yeah.
He's quietly made like 7 or 8 of those, and they're all pretty good. They're all very entertaining, big budget, very well shot, very exciting action set pieces. He's always out doing himself, climbing the tower in Dubai or hanging onto a jet or, jumping a car off of the, Statue of Liberty's crown. Or he's always doing something like that should get him killed, but thank God it doesn't. And I think with his movies, they're so consistently entertaining. You know what I mean? He's not the best, but I don't have any problem with him at all. I think he's a fantastic actor and a great movie maker.
He's built a relationship with the American movie-going public, and you can't say it any fairer than that. He's a good actor. He delivers in a lot of ways, and not to drag this into our conversation, but he's a lot like Johnny Depp. He's somebody that started out as a young actor, a kid, essentially a pretty boy, and through consistently working hard and delivering his movies, not everyone's a hit, not everything he does works, but he goes, like, more often than not they do, and more often than not he entertains the audience. He's focused on entertaining the audience. Yeah, absolutely. And what a lot of people miss about it, one of my favorite things was when he had that on-set flip out during lockdown and on the most recent Mission Impossible. One thing a lot of people missed about that flip out is and this is why I think he makes those movies support Cruise. And he carries a lot of responsibility when people are saying, no, you can't do it. The reason why they let him do it, put aside everything else behind all of that, he is dealing with a certain amount of rules and regulations, tremendous, from insurers, from everyone else. Like, let's look at it logistically. You know what I mean? He has to deal with the so what, now what aspect of movie making, right? Like, there's a global thing. They can't get insurance because the insurance companies are doing this. It doesn't matter to him. He's still trying to get a way to get it done. So he puts this stuff, his name on the line, so that he can feed these people in the entertainment industry. Like, that's really what motivates him. Yeah. And his all the things, all the, midlife crisis, stuff he's had, and all of the other lunacy, it comes down to, the fact that this is a guy who actually really loves making movies. He's going to have his, failings and shortcomings happen in front of everyone, because that's what happens in the entertainment industry. It's a tough situation being, a movie star, carries a lot of weight with it, but he's carried it admirably for almost his entire life. Can't say it any fairer than that.
Yeah, I'm very impressed. I'm very excited to see this sequel. Probably, I might check it out tomorrow. They started doing those midnight showings like 20 years ago for Spider-Man and Lord of the Rings and all that. What I like now is they'll do the Thursday night show and they'll just do one at 7. Like, we don't have to wait till midnight, guys. Let's just do one at 7 or 9 p.m. So we're not coming home at 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm in my early 40s. I don't want to be coming home at 3 in the morning. Sorry. So let's see. Warlock says he grew mature over time as well. From Cocktail to Mission Impossible, he's gone from goofy to serious action. Yeah, I saw Risky Business. That was a weird movie. I mean, he's got so much like such a magnetic personality. He's so charming. He's so handsome. He's so like comes across as so cool and fun and confident. So I think even though when he was doing the goofier stuff, like he was saying there, Warlock, he still was great. You know what I mean? You still wanted to be around him. He seemed like he'd be a cool friend or something like that. So,
he's short too. He's a short movie star, man.
I would just tower over him.
Yeah, but it's everyone who's met him. I had a friend who works at Pixar still, I think. And Tom Cruise was coming through Pixar. This is way back before they canceled John Lasseter. Way back. I mean, like probably maybe 15 years ago, my friend was telling me this story. And he said that just the dude's charisma, and my friend is also really tall. He goes, the dude's charisma, it's like crazy. I know you've been in the presence of movie stars.
Sure.
It's a particular kind of thing.
Well, Sean, they have been in the presence of me.
That's what I meant. It's my dyslexia. But I will tell you, though, there's something in this movie that all of you guys miss that is the most tragic thing that happens to the actor who plays Goose. And I'm sure it happened off camera. It happened behind the scenes.
Uh-oh.
And nobody even realizes that it happened. Do you have any shots in there of the volleyball game?
I'll just I'll dig one up. I can't. I had my daughter get these photos, and I didn't tell her. I don't know if she's seen it.
I'm going to ask you guys if anyone in the chat can tell me what was notable about Anthony Edwards, Goose, and the volleyball sequence.
I think I said Iceman earlier, but I'm pretty sure my brother's teacher was Goose in the volleyball because they're more similar with the hair and stuff like that. Mr. Bird had more reddish brown hair and stuff. But he has a shirt on.
So that means when they went to go shoot that scene,
right?
Or Anthony Edwards, not Michael. Anthony Edwards. They went to Anthony Edwards and they said, "All right, guys, take off your shirts." And Anthony Edwards, I can imagine in my head, starts pulling his shirt up, and they go, "No, you're good, Anthony. You're good. You keep your shirt on."
Right.
And that's gotta hurt. All these years later, I can imagine it's gotta sting.
No, it's a great scene.
It is, man.
Yeah, I love it. And then is that Kenny Loggins playing with the boys, right?
Yeah, man. I was explaining that to my wife the other day. I played her that song. This is before we even knew we were doing Top Gun. I'm not even kidding you. This is how crazy this stuff is.
I'm gonna leave all the jokes going through my head just off the internet.
Yeah, well, what happens.
Somehow I got 23 frames. That must have been an animated GIF or something.
There you go.
It loaded 23 of those when I put it in there.
Dad Bod Goose, Angela Curry. That's right. Justice for Dad Bod Goose.
Yeah.
That's what we have to say.
How dare you?
Well, and this is the coolest thing about this movie, though, too. About the only thing that breaks my heart when I look at Top Gun, frankly, is Val Kilmer and what's happened to him since then. I mean, just is heartbreaking, But
Right.
It's because you'd love to see him, in the middle of it, like really in the middle of it. You know what I mean? Being able to talk about it and do all that stuff as well as he could. But it's a classic movie. It is what Star Wars was for the late to mid 70s, Top Gun was for the mid to late 80s. Like, it's that movie that kind of defines that optimism, but it put it in a more, we lost Gabe for a second there, I think. It put it more in a in a more patriotic sense. It made it more tangible. And that sort of celebration, I've been there, man. I know that sort of celebration.
I hit the back button and kicked myself off the show.
I know. I do that all the time, man.
Sorry.
You can salivate over that bulging muscle, but only relate to how much chicks get some like normal. That's right.
Right.
Man. Yeah. It's one of those things where, not thinking of shirtless Anthony Edwards. That's right. Yeah, Lee Flay. But there you go.
I'm all for the volleyball scene.
Right on.
I'm egalitarian when it comes to sexiness and media. I think, and I'm being funny, but I'm also being serious that there's a line between where it's tasteful and it's a little titillating and stuff, and then it crosses into the X-rated, and I'm not for that because I think that's hurts people and it's bad for psychology and spirituality. But I think a gorgeous woman looking just absolutely beautiful, cool looking dudes with their shirts off playing volleyball, I'm all for it. I think we need more of it. I think we need more standards and beauty and all that because it's aspirational. And I know this, when you see a guy and he looks like $1 million, and he's there in his uniform or they're flexing on you with the shirt off and everything. As me, I think most normal guys are like, dude, I could do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You instantly start thinking, yeah, I want to be like that. I want to be glistening on the volleyball court and have women looking at me. Sure, why not? So I think absolutely that it's really important to show high achieving stuff, show high standards, so people can, be inspired to aspire to that.
It's and what's so funny is, again, I have so many Top Gun-ish memories and ways this, John, and how this movie influenced me. And there's a story that I swear to you, it's like who was it? Nick Rekieta was talking the other night, and he goes, "I'm gonna tell you," or was it Nick Rekieta? I forget who it was. Someone was talking the other night. I was watching, and they said, "When I tell you a story like this, it's the truth. Just deal with it. This happened." And I had one of those childhoods and growing up experiences where these things happen. So I was at this program for artists in the summer in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and it was like a 4-week program in the summer for people, scholarship program for artists I guess it's in a lot of the sort of poorer states, the governor's honors program. And we went up to MTSU, was it not Memphis, Murfreesboro. And we were on campus. And the first night there, me and the guys from the guys' dorm went over to the volleyball court by the girls' dorm. And we were playing volleyball, and I was doing what I do, telling jokes and cracking people up. And all of a sudden, while I was distracted and talking to the sideline, a volleyball came and hit me directly on top of the head. It was hilarious, right on top of the head. And just to play it off, and because it was hilarious to me even too, I just fell over like I had died. And my guy friends picked me up, carried me over to this group of girls who were watching us play. And then I got up. I was like, all right, fine. I got up and went back in it, and I realized I didn't have my hat. And I turned around, and I was like, where's my hat? And I looked over, and dude, I swear it's like one of those scenes from a 50s movies. There's 4 girls, and one of the girls in the middle's got her arms behind their back, and she's smiling at me, and they're all looking at her laughing. And I was like, game on, Slider. Game on.
Yeah. No, I
That's
think
what youth is about, man.
right. Absolutely. But again, as a dude, you see this guy, you're like, you know what?
Yeah, man.
I'm going to skip the cake tonight after dinner and do an extra 100 push-ups. You know what I mean? It is when you have high standards, high achievement. These guys are Top Gun, the 1% of naval aviators. You think, you know what? I want to be the 1% of what I do. I want to work my tail off. There's glory in it, man. There's glory in all that. How much am I willing to suffer to be what I'm supposed to be? What is my potential? What can I get to? I think it's amazing to see stuff like that. And I do love, I think you nailed that, where Star Wars is kind of defining that. And this kind of defines that 1980s, that we were all so happy to be Americans. Forget politics, whatever, left, right, feminist, whatever. It felt that way. I don't know. I was a kid. I could be misguided, but it sure felt that way. We were all so happy to be here, and we all thought the future was limitless. At least that's how I saw it. I don't know. Maybe those are rose-colored glasses of youth, but that's definitely how I saw it in the 80s, and even into the 90s. I think a cynicism, I don't want to get too deep into this because I'm sure it's complicated, but I felt like sarcasm and insincerity and cynicism really started to rear its head in the mid to late 90s. And, it was just anathema to what I felt in the 80s. So,
no, I think what the biggest thing about it is that we drive, the culture takes the wheel as long, every now and again, the culture gets so big, or I should say the industry gets so big. Industry is made by artists, or put it this way, artists and creators and people who do make the industry. The industry becomes bureaucratic and run by people who say. But at a certain point, the disconnect happens between the audience and the industry, quote unquote. And then the industry gets to assert what it believes and what it's about. And I think that after the 70s, which was a miserable time, it really was, and 60s too, for that matter. Sure, there's great music, blah, 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 but it was all of that partying after the 50s, right? And the patriotism of we've defeated the Nazis, and we've been victorious in World War II. You then roll into the 50s. By the time you get to the late 60s and into the mid 70s, whatever way you're looking at it, it was just a period where people had totally disconnected from things. They had disconnected from themselves. They disconnected from any bigger sense of purpose. You can say religion, you could say whatever, but they were looking for it in other places. You still had, the Hare Krishna who don't look, with the shaved heads and the sideburns, don't look unlike what we're seeing today. And at a certain point, something like Star Wars comes along. They still have the feathered hair and all that stuff, but you see people who are like, I want to be told, is there a meaning? Is there a purpose? They're in the desert. They're in the wasteland. And Top Gun was sort of the natural evolution that came out from Star Wars. Star Wars utterly influenced the dogfights and everything and how it was shot. But it really, it was really about this idea of, essentially Goose is Biggs. You've got Luke Skywalker. He's got some things moved along. This is like we're childhood friends, and he has to go on without him. Like at a certain point, he leaves his childhood, but his childhood friend comes with him, and then he loses his childhood friend, and he is forced to have to make new relationships. And who becomes his wingman who protects him? This older, still older, but smuggler guy that we've got, Han Solo, comes in. And it's not the wingman you were looking for or that you wanted. It's the wingman you needed. And there you go.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. It's kind of is a Biggs thing and a Han Solo thing, and you got the older. Yeah, I didn't even make that connection. I was
Han
obsessed with
Solo's ice cold.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a fighter pilot since I was a little boy because of Star Wars. That was the first thing I fell in love with when I was little. It's why I started drawing, and I would draw the fighter battles. I wouldn't draw the characters so much as I would draw the X-Wings and the TIE fighters. And then someone told me when I was little, some jerk adult, I don't remember who, they told me, well, you can't wear glasses and be a fighter pilot. You got to have 20/20 vision. So they kind of dashed. And I don't know if that's still true. Maybe you can get LASIK now. But when I was little, I was told that was true. And then I was growing so rapidly. I was so tall. They also told me you couldn't be too tall and be a fighter pilot. So some jerk out there, some adult that didn't achieve their dreams, I guess, was trying to crap on mine. But again, living in San Diego, you go to the Miramar Air Show. I'm not going to bore you like you're going to your auntie and uncles and seeing a bunch of slides. But I went to the Miramar Air Show in 2019. That was the last time they had it because of COVID. And here's just like a 15-second thing. So this is like the air, one of the airstrips. There's many strips there and hangars. And this is just like a 10-second video of some. But it's sorry, I'll get rid of this. It's so much fun to go to this thing every October. And it's like 3 hours long. They do it over the course. I think they do it like 2 weekends. Maybe it's one long weekend, but they do it. And it's really crazy. There's Harriers, there's tanks, there's all kinds of stuff. There's soldiers there, like Marines and naval guys and all that. And there's all kinds of things. See, here's real quick. Here's me with some guys in 2019, some Marines. They're like, take a picture in front of the Humvee, holding the rifles and hanging out. And it's just, I don't know. I feel such an emotional connection to this movie because, again, I was on this base my whole childhood. I was always going to this base. My uncle worked there. My stepfather worked there. My best friends, their dads were Navy men. So if you're in San Diego, Navy is just part of the fabric of this city. You know what I mean? It's absolutely a huge part. And if you're ever here in late October, get out to the Miramar Air Show. It's really a great time. Oh, look, I was still wearing a DC hat at the time. Isn't that something?
That happens. Yeah, Dean Cain, you've been a fan for a long time.
But look, I'm wearing a Steranko t-shirt.
That's right. All class, all day.
Right. So let me check on the chat here really quick. Let's see.
Right on.
Gabe, a great book to break down the change and why is John Mersheimer's The Great Delusion, a great poli-sci breakdown of the change that happened. Oh, he's talking about that hopeful, awesome American exceptionalism that we were still in the 80s. And why did it fall apart and turn into like Janine Garofalo and like negative, oh, America's not so cool in the 90s? Like, where the hell did that come from? That weird, I mean, I love Nirvana, but that nihilism there, like that life was pointless, you know?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I was there for grunge. You know, my group was Alice in Chains. But, you know, as far as if you look at grunge bands and everybody who was in them, it was not a great life trajectory. You know, it wasn't. Like, you know what I mean? We didn't get to see Lane Staley or Kurt Cobain or any of those guys, you know, in their later years, because it's just what happens when you go down that road, unfortunately, that road of nihilism. And it was. I mean, it's not a knock. It just is what it is. And for me, when I look at this movie and I think about this kind of thing is there's when things are good, and you know this thing, you know, it's like, what is it? Strong men make good times make weak men make, or hard times, and hard times make strong men. And
right,
you know,
that cycle.
Yeah. And I look at it this way, man. It's like this, is that these are hard times that we're in. And during soft and easy times, you can listen, you can afford to make different kind of mistakes. You can afford to hire people who aren't good at their job, for example, during really good times. And you can bring in all the wrong people to trade on and squander the goodwill and the industry of successful people. But at a certain point, when it comes time to pay the piper, you need strong men back in there, whether you like it or not.
Right.
And I think that it's ridiculous. Like, that's the thing. And these people slink off to the side, but they're always waiting. They're always waiting with their nihilism. I don't think they ever go away. They just don't, like, they have to just worm their way back into all of these things. You know what I mean? They do. It's gross. Like they do things like they'll come up to you, guys, this is, if you want to know how all of these entertainment industries, how we lost this stuff, it's the same people who come in who are like, and Ethan was talking about this the other night, people coming in paying lip service to things. When somebody says the sentence to me, I believe in free speech, but you don't believe in free speech.
Right.
I love America, but look, what are you going to tell me? Like, my favorite one of all time, which they get, this is how effective it is, they got me saying, is I don't agree with everything this person says, but I also like, I used to say that for a while. And it's like going, obviously. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's such an obvious thing. It's like, well, you know, and I'm kind of like going, well, yeah, you're going to tell me something shocking. People aren't perfect. Yeah, some of us are a lot more imperfect than others, is my point.
Right.
Some of us on the human scale achieve excellence. That's Iceman, right?
Right.
That's who it is. Like, I'm sorry to say, Maverick is not the number one pilot from the graduating class. That's another aspect,
Right.
which is, here's the craziest thing people miss about this. And I can't, like, this is genius. The main character in this story does not become the person who gets the gold star at the end of the trials. He learns how to be a wingman, that he was not meant to be the best. He's one of the best, but the best is Iceman, undeniably by the end of that movie. Iceman held everybody off by himself until Maverick got there. And he risked a ton to be able to hold them off.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's why he's there. And you understand that by the end. And the fact that he says, you can, you know, where he says, you can be my wingman anytime. And he says, bullshit, you can be mine. The great thing about that is it's not like them saying, hey, we can be besties. He's still saying, I'm going to compete with you, man.
Right.
Do you get what I mean? Most people think that's just he's basically saying, you can be my second anytime. And then the other guy says, you can be my second.
Right. Yeah.
It's more complicated.
Yeah. I don't think anything could be more American than for Maverick to find where he fits in and pulls his weight for the group and understands that he's part of something larger instead of the nihilism of just being a narcissist and only caring about yourself. Like, I think the left SJW cancel culture people, their credo is life is only about pleasure. And their only enemy is their own discomfort. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's their heuristic. That's their algorithm for all of life. Does it make me feel good? Then yes, it's good. Does it give me any discomfort or pain? Then it's bad. And that is so not true. That is just the opposite of truth. Many things that are amazing and good for us to do, they're painful. They're hard. They're very unpleasant. You know what I mean? But you do them because you understand that you're part of a continuum. You're part of this proud tradition, a chain of human beings that if you look at the arc of human history for all that we've recorded, ultimately we're survivors. Ultimately we conquer evil and we survive. And we have these burps, these hiccups every once in a while. We have to crush down communism or Nazis or whatever, you know, but I think we're kind of in the middle of that right now culturally, but I think we're winning. You know, the light is winning.
Yeah. Listen, guys, and this is, guys, I want to get to the chat. And so this is not a pitch, but in this particular sense, yes. And someone made I want to read, actually, can we go up to Danky Frank? Let's see, go to Jared Weaver, I think. Actually, what above that? It's all great. I want to start with Danky Frankie's first one right there. Here he goes. Where he says, in the real world, Mav is number one. Jared Weaver says to me, except when Maverick blew the commies to hell, right? Iceman is tops in academia, but not in the real world. Angela Curry says mutual respect, which is great. And I'm going to get back to the academia one because you're absolutely right, but there's something even bigger there, you know, which is when he's in the shit, the beautiful part of it is that Iceman is like, you know, Maverick, I can't get him off my tail. Like, he's desperate and he's counting on Maverick. Maverick saves him. Right. Maverick's coming to the rescue, has a crisis of confidence. And, you know, when he flies through the jet wash again, and then, and he has his flashback, he pushes through. But after that, Iceman is like, move your ass. I need you here right now.
Right.
And there is something that's so beautiful. And you guys are absolutely right. You know, that's right. It's, they're there as a balance to each other. Because at the end of the day, if we're not all in on America, or if we're not all in on living this life and go down that road of nihilism, it's over. And both of these guys are not at crossed purposes. The competition, or not even competition, is great, but that was that was the competition is friendly competition. Iceman and Maverick did not want Goose to die. Do you get what I mean? Like
Right.
it's ridiculous that people think that competition is, you see all these fighters when they're older and they get together and they hang out. There's a little bit of that with Top Gun. And I, want to see Cass reunite. And there you go. Yeah. Can't do it without Maverick. And Maverick can't do it without Iceman.
Right.
Right on.
Well, here's a very interesting comment, and I don't know anything about volleyball. I've never liked volleyball. I only like sports where you can hit the other players.
Yes.
Contact sports, football, wrestling, fighting. I have zero interest in things like volleyball, even though I'm very tall. So he says the volleyball was foreshadowing if you understand volleyball. So I'm trying to work that backwards in my head, trying to see how that volleyball relates to that final scene or whatever. But I can't do it right now because I don't know enough about volleyball.
Well, he says it on two down from there. He says it.
Oh. Okay. Well, I should have.
No, it's fine.
I should have waited.
It's brilliant in that sense, and there's also something that makes me kind of gotta wonder a little bit about it too. Like when I read that comment, this always gets me thinking that Goose is like, we can take these guys, and Maverick's like, I gotta go see somebody. You see Goose kind of get left behind, and it's kind of rough. When you think about where the movie goes from there, where he's got to leave Goose behind, like he's on a different trajectory. And it's brilliant, man. Yeah,
you can't hit people in volleyball. Now I know I got it kicked off the court. Yeah, I'm not interested. If you can't hit people, I'm not interested. Exactly. I think now stay with me, guys. Major League Baseball. You got one team on the field, 9 players.
Yeah.
The other team only has 1, the batter. What if there was an analog to all the people on the baseball field, like the diamond, from the offense? So when I hit the ball, the first baseman's trying to catch it or whatever, there's a guy from my team that can knock him down before he can catch it and get me out. Huh? I think we can make combat baseball and make it awesome. That's anyway, nobody has liked that idea that I pitched it to, but I'm counting on you to support me.
No, I agree. 100%.
Make
100%.
Make baseball violent again, please.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. Gabe, women's beach volleyball is the only sport I watch. I've seen it. I still don't know what's going on in the game, but that's not really the point for me when I watch something like that. Let's see.
Yeah.
Here's one here, a little foreshadowing. That was his last time hanging with Goose, too. I think it was.
Yeah.
The piano scene is before the volleyball scene, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that was it.
Is it? Hold on a minute. Shoot. I'm trying to play it in my head.
I could have it wrong. Either way.
Because I'm wondering if he hangs out with him. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. When they do the piano scene, he's there with Kelly McGillis. So that really is their last guy hangout time together.
Yeah.
Either way. Like, I think that's what it is. Hey, what's up, SDA? More like, by the way, everyone coming
Look
in.
Look at this. I got a supporter in the chat. I just fixed baseball. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely did.
Ooh, this guy just took it to the next level. Only you can run the bases with the bat. The guy's like, you're out. You're like, I'm out when I say I'm out.
Beautiful, man.
Oh, I love that.
Beautiful.
Oh, shoot. Absolutely.
No, I mean, this is the thing, guys, about this stuff, right? When and this is it is what it is. I was going to say it's not a sales pitch, but it's the same thing. What's it matter if it is a sales pitch? I don't even understand, half that stuff. But when you guys what's the point? What's it matter if it is or it isn't? When you guys back Nosfero, when you back Truth, Justice, American Way, what I can assure you everybody involved in this project is about aspirational excellence. And it seems like a small thing compared to Hollywood, compared to what comic book companies have at their disposal. I'm not saying what the artists get, but what the resources they have, these characters that are iconic. We're trying to go up there and do something that is very complicated and on a scale that is a lot for us to do. And it's great. We can do the work. We're not concerned about that. But you guys backing us is a vote for aspiration. You guys being in here and just watching this show is a vote for aspirational work and the importance. Because people watch the trend lines. People watch what's happening or they see what's happening. And one of the most amazing things that has sort of comes out of all these nihilistic periods we go through is the goal of all this propaganda garbage is not to convince, as Razorfist said so well, it's to demoralize. It's to make you feel like having hope and faith and belief in America, belief in heroism, belief in goodness, belief in art, that art can uplift people, and escapism. It's something that's easy. Like that there's a time when people can be so cynical about this stuff, but all it takes, that's why I'm removing we from everything. Like, how are we feeling patriotic right now? Are we feeling this? I'm one of those people that I'm kind of like planting my feet in the ground and saying, no, I've been thinking about this my whole life. I've loved this country my whole life. I have no problem making jokes about things every now and again, because as they say, as Reagan would say, that's what makes America different from everywhere else.
Absolutely.
But it's like a family, family banter. But when the shit hits the fan, we're together and we believe in these values and these principles. Absolutely. And that's what I love about this movie. When you've got that, the Red Stars, coming after you in their fighter jets, and you're in danger. You guys, you've drifted into enemy territory and you need to defend it. We're defending that ship. We're defending each other. We're all in this together. You know what I mean? And the stakes are real when we're doing this. The stakes are real. And if you don't feel that it's real, I can't imagine how anybody can, if you don't feel like it's real, I don't know how anybody could back a Comicsgate book or tune into one of these YouTube channels if they don't believe it's real. You know what I mean? That this stuff is important. It is a statement of belief. It's a statement of principle. You know what I mean? That art and free expression is important, and that's what we're here to do.
Absolutely. Amen. In the spirit of San Diego, Naval Air Station Miramar, the rich naval history that I'm going to say it, my hometown. I wasn't born here, but I've spent most of my life here. I was born in Greeley, Colorado. I love Greeley. It has a place in my heart. But San Diego's my home. I was in Colorado visiting my dad, and I came home a week ago. And when I crossed from Primm, Nevada, Whiskey Pete's Casino, right on the California state line, there's that sign that says, "Welcome to California." It's got some beautiful golden poppies painted on it. I was just lifted up. I love it here. Yeah, people shit talk California, a bunch of libtards, whatever. Nah, man, this is America's finest city. San Diego actually is a red place. Again, it's very military, very, very much more conservative than the rest of the coastal cities here. It's a wonderful place to live. But in honor of that, what I want to do, I put a video online about a month ago of a family friend. I'm here with Grandpa.
It's practically family, right?
It's loading. This is my brother-in-law's wife's grandfather. He joined the Navy, I think, in the late 40s. He served on the USS Midway, which is a floating museum here now. And this is a little 2-minute video. And I just want to play it because if we're talking Top Gun, we're talking San Diego, we're talking Navy, and we're talking culture. I want to show you guys this guy. Some of you have already seen this, but I want to play this because I've known Grandpa Rocky for a long time because I've known my wife since I was, I think I was 15 when I met my wife. I'm 43 now. And this is my wife's brother's sister's grandfather. Great guy. Love this guy. And let's just see what Grandpa Rocky, former Navy man, has to say about, woke and dishonoring this country real quick. Hi, so I'm here with Grandpa Rocky. This is Gabe El-Taib. And Grandpa Rocky, you served in the Navy for many years. What was your, your rank and what ship did you serve on?
Oh, I'm the chief aviation mechanic. I served on the Boxer for 3 years. I was on the Shangri-La, I was on the Essex, and the Midway. And I made 4 or 5 cruises overseas to Japan and China and all over to Asia.
Wow.
That's about all I can tell you right now.
Okay.
My nickname is Rocky.
Right.
Because I used to get beat up all the time as a kid.
So, kind of like a reverse Rocky Marciano.
Yeah.
No, you're Rocky Marciano the early years.
Yeah, they named me Rocky after Rocky Marciano.
Right, the prequel to Rocky.
But I never boxed. I used to street fight, kick, bite, and scratch.
Right. Yeah, because you're from New York, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you were, you were in those street gangs like in what, the 30s or the 40s,
we used to
right?
make zip guns in school, high school. And it's the little 22s we should shoot at each other.
All right.
And never hit anything but the trash cans. And that's about all I can tell you, Dave. I don't know if I could tell you more. I'd love to tell you.
Okay, but I told you about some friends of mine, and we quit working for these big companies, Disney and Warner Brothers, because they're just communist trash.
And the American way, like Superman's slogan, they threw that in the trash and they said they don't want Superman. He renounced his American citizenship in the books.
Well, I'm
Now,
an American citizen, and I love Americans. And anybody that don't like America, I don't even want to see them or talk to them. That's the way I feel.
right.
Okay.
How do you feel? Do you feel disrespected by these institutions doing that?
Absolutely. It's a shame. They want to be in America, but they don't respect anybody.
It's disgusting to me.
It is disgusting. I agree with you.
Right. So everything you did and other veterans to make America great, to give us the greatest abundance in the history of the world, in my opinion, and I think that's
Absolutely.
self-evident. I think you're right. For them to disrespect it is just so disgusting.
And it is disgusting. I don't think they should be around.
I don't think they'll be around much longer, defying the fans and insulting this country over and over and over.
Well, as long as you got a president like we have now, it might be really sad. This guy doesn't know where he's at.
No, he doesn't.
I hate to disrespect the president, but he's a dud.
So, do you think, my friends and I, we broke away from easy, steady jobs at these big companies to make independent work that will once again, glorify America and uplift people, inspire them with real heroes?
I love it. I think that's what everybody should be doing instead of disrespecting the country and the flag. I hate people like that. And I don't care who knows it.
Well, thank you for everything you've done for us, and I hope I can make you proud with what I do.
Oh, I love what you do, Gabe. I love it.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll end it here.
You're an American, true American. That's why I feel about it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Rocky. That means a lot to me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I had to cut that short. I wanted to interview him for a long time, but it got honestly, I hate saying it got emotional there when he started complimenting me and thanking me. And I don't know if you heard my voice crack a little bit when I said something to him, but I was like, okay, I got to cut this off. But
but that's a thing though, right? Where it's like, one of the things, and this is what bothered me. It is what it is. It bothers you as a kid, and we've both talked about it, and I'm not going to linger on it, but it's because I don't care to. It doesn't matter anymore. It's fucking done. And apologies, but it's appropriate for the F word here.
right,
Which is, you go through a certain periods in your life. You can go through periods in your life where people say, you're not really an American. You're not an American. They identify you with another country just because of the way you look.
yeah,
And you work really hard. And when somebody who has served this country, and says to you, you're an American with what you're doing. You're a good American. I see you as an American. That's what so many of us really hold in high esteem and we strive for.
right,
And one of my favorite movies of all time, which we gotta do at some point, is the movie Dragon, the Bruce Lee story.
okay,
Because there's this part in that movie where he gets confronted in a gym, and I remember, I don't know how many people in the gym got how important it was what he said, but he confronts him in the gym. He gets confronted in the gym by this guy, and this guy comes up to him and he goes, you guys killed my dad in Korea. You think I'm happy to see you in the gym? And then he has this fight with him, and after he kicks ass, he goes, he's like, I'm sorry about your father, but those were Koreans. He goes, I'm an American. He doesn't say I'm Chinese.
right,
Granted, he was born in Oakland, as you know, and he was a fourth Dutch, but he says, I'm an American. And I went, thank you.
yeah,
Thank you. That is exactly what we needed in that film and at that time.
Right.
And so I always tell people, there is no country where Gabe and I can be seen as full citizens of a country. You think I can take my half Austrian Indian, 1/4 Austrian, 1/4 Indian self to India? Or to any ethno state and have people say you're Indian? No, but you can come here from everywhere. And when you see Top Gun, you see all of these guys who they're defending principles. They're from probably all over the country.
right,
These guys from all different kinds of backgrounds. I'm talking to you, Kazansky. They're from all different kinds of backgrounds,
right.
and they get together and they do what they've got to do because of these principles they believe in, and that's what makes it a great thing.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. And I think whenever you have fraternity, whenever you have brotherhood, and I know this for sure from being a high school football player myself, and then being a coach for many, many years of Pop Warner, and then middle school, and then helping out with the high school football boys. you forget race, you forget who's this or that or where anyone's from when you bleed together, when you fight together, when you have to carry your brother, and then when you're hurt, he has to carry you, and there's no bond like that. It's funny that brotherhood is the standard for loyalty. In the Bible, Christ himself says, I am the friend that sticks closer than a brother. What does that imply about a brother? That nothing sticks closer than it but God himself.
Yeah.
Right? So that tells you what brotherhood really is. And I feel it with you, Shant, and I feel it with the other guys that we fight and we get punched and we bleed and we get up and we, what's it like to walk away from 18 years in academia and being a tenured professor? You're getting hit in the mouth. Your bank account is. But here we are with these Comicsgate fans lifting us up, wipe that blood off our faces, get it out of your mouth. Say, okay, I'm still going. What's it like for me to go on Ethan's channel and just say, hey, F you, DC Comics. I'm done with your garbage. That's tough for me. That's scary. But we have a brotherhood here. We have a brotherhood and we lift each other up, and it's amazing.
The most important freedom that there's so many important freedoms, but one of the ones I've been thinking about every week or two, I'll look at something and it'll make me think of a particular freedom that I believe in. Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I love this country, and I pledge allegiance to its flag. Period.
Absolutely.
But there's this thing I think about that really gets me, which is something that I value in Comicsgate, and it was the kind of thing to where I don't care who anybody is; they are never going to be able to tell me otherwise. I believe in freedom of association.
Yeah.
The right to associate with the people that you want to. And when I hear people talking about, guys, it is a big deal for us to step across and say, I'm Comicsgate. Not because there's anything wrong with Comicsgate, but because there is something to this very hate-filled, resentful, and pathological group of people. They resent your right and my right to freely associate with who we choose.
Right.
And we're not doing this under an alias, either of us. We're pretty easy to figure out because there's not a ton of us. I think I'm the only Sean Fagetti in the world, actually.
What's funny? I am the only Gabriel El Taib in the world because my last name isn't really spelled this way. The French consulate translated El Taib to El Taib. So, I think you and I are minted, one of a kind,
Yeah. But this is the whole thing, right? I could only be, to me, it is the best thing in the world. I could only be in America. Only in America is it possible for me to do any number of the things that I'm doing. And I will tell you this, guys, it was a lot for me. Like at 140, when I saw it's like my YouTube channel got monetized. I was like, all I could do was think about, it's taken me like the day, I've been out, I love my family, but I've been a bit of I'm going to swear again, apologies. I've been a bit of a cagey fuck today because I'm like that. You know what I mean? I'm the kind of person to where, like, if I'm having a tough time, I'm the kind of person who kind of goes inward, retreats, and like someone tries to hug me, I'm like, fuck off me kind of guy. It's just, that's how I'm built. It's annoying, but it is what it is. I got to go chill in the cave. And, but I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about how and we were joking about this before the show, when I walked away from a full-time associate professor job because I would not teach American young adults racism. I would not teach racism and bigotry as a part of all this CRT, DEI or DIE more accurately, education. And that's why I did it. And I would not stand to see people who were creative artists who give so much to this, culture, pop culture wise, be slandered and called bigots and run out of the industries that they were in.
Hold on. Read that. That's too good. Read that.
Yeah. South walked away from tenure and got the highway to the danger zone.
That's right.
I did, man.
You could be my wingman anytime, Sean.
That's right. And you can be mine. And let me tell you this, man. The highway to the danger zone, it heads towards excellence. It heads towards excellence. Right. And we sit there and we, I was talking with Phil Diaz, who's launching a book soon this weekend. and I was doing a piece for him, and I sent him another scan because I wasn't sure the colors of it were as good as they could be. And Phil was like, "Is it okay if I use the scan you got me? Because I'm fine with it. It's great. It's like you can send me the better one when you're ready." It's like once you send it and once the check clears, you don't have to care about excellence, man, unless you care about excellence. That's it.
Right.
Like when you care about excellence, it's womb to tomb, birth to earth, as they say.
Yeah,
And that's how it is.
My wife just texted me. I locked her out of the house, so I'm gonna go unlock
Yeah,
the door.
go do that. Yeah.
Well, I had to give her a timeout because she wasn't behaving. No, just kidding.
Listen, I'm not here to judge your journey.
I'll be back in like 30
Absolutely,
seconds.
guys. Absolutely, guys. And you guys think about it too. It's when we're doing this work, and when I'm painting, even when I'm painting the pinup artwork that I'm doing for Phil, and then another one that I'm doing for another friend of mine, who's in Comicsgate and for a Comicsgate project, I'm celebrating the beauty of, to put it as simply as I can, I'm celebrating the beauty of American women, and I'm celebrating the beauty of our culture, that I can paint beautiful women and celebrate that here freely without restrictions. And the same thing goes with aspiration, action. I never should have to, nor should you, question the artwork that I'm making.
Right.
And he's got the best name. Even though we all must engage when we are good and ready, as they say. He does have a great call sign. You can't get much better than that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm sorry. My wife was working on the backyard. She's got a bit of a green thumb. A great gardener. She's building a chicken coop. She's almost done with it. And I locked her out before the show.
Yep.
So let's see. Oh, Hunch had a good one here.
Yeah.
Coming back with the black eye. No, I'm good. I'm good. I reflexively lock doors when I walk through them. So it's not the first time, nor will it be the last.
Yeah, man.
So,
it's look, I always say this. Yeah, quality is number one. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'm telling you what, guys. There's being around people who strive for excellence raises your game. When we wake up in the morning, like when people say to me, talk to me about like what it is. Here's all Comicsgate is in a nutshell. I mean, we know the big sweeping things of it, but here's what the work of Comicsgate is. It's getting up every morning, looking at all the things you have to do as an independent businessman, and depending on who your team is and what's going on with your team. In my case, it's I'm the team, and then there's the shows that I'm on, the show with Gabe, CG team, all of that stuff, right? And then just methodically going to your desk and working all day until you get to the end of the day and doing it again and again,
right,
and again and again. That's all it is. It's discipline and consistency. It's commitment and consistency.
Right.
And that's how we get here.
Let's
one or two backers at a time.
Let's talk about pursuing excellence. So, guys, Truth, Justice, American Way, if you have not backed this book yet, I am asking you directly to back it tonight. We're going to keep the fundraising open. Dave and I are working on it. And what are we at? We're at 61,792. So that means everyone is going to get the set of 3 trading cards. You're welcome. We're going to do a corner, like the old corner boxes in the Marvel and DC comics. We're going to do a sticker. Everyone's getting that now because of 60. At 70,000, we're going to unlock a 6x9 full color, like mini print. So like basically like a giant postcard, a little bit smaller than a comic book. And if we can get up to, what are we at right now? I'll show you guys the mini print artwork, a little bit of it, if we can get up to something tonight. What are we at? We're at 961 backers. What should I say? Well, I'll show them some of this art.
Let me see here. Gosh, what are we at? 961 backers. Let's do this. Let's say we got a little glimpse of it right there, right?
Yeah, it's here.
Oh, that looks sweet, man, but we can't hold just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
That's right. Let's see here. Oh gosh. Well, we should at least be able to get to
I'd say 65.
Yeah, let's say 65. Let's get 4 more in there.
Yeah, if we get 4 more before the end of the show, I'll show off what David showed me. And,
absolutely.
And he showed a glimpse of it on the Players Club last night. So I don't feel bad showing it or anything like that. He showed just a glimpse of it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, let's get a few more in there. I'm having so much fun working on this. And again, to me, if you love Top Gun, if you love stuff like that where it's aspirational and it just agrees with you and your worldview of, you know what, this is a great culture, Western culture, America, and we're all so damn lucky to be here. Look at Grandpa Rocky, that old man, that relative of mine. He's not blood, but he might as well be.
Might as well be.
And what he thought about me and Shant and and all my buddies here, all the creators in CG, walking away from Shant from academia, me from Warner Brothers and all that, so I wouldn't spit in Grandpa Rocky's face. I'm doing this for him. I'm doing this for you guys. I'm doing this because it's the only thing I can do. It's the right thing to do. I cannot stand there and destroy our culture, this great culture that inspires us all to be more than we ever thought we could be. So
Absolutely
I'm asking you tonight to support me, and I need you guys to jump on here. So you got to support Shant. You know, he walked away from a steady job, health insurance, all of it, because he didn't want to spit on Grandpa Rocky either. You know,
yeah, Mike, and I didn't want to spit on my own grandfather, John Camacho, who served in the U.S. Army.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's like it's one of those things to where, you know, it's one of my favorite stories of him, and it was what it was, but it was he it was a tough dude, and he was babysitting me once, and I hadn't seen him, and I wanted to go with my mom, and I was like 4 or 5,
right,
and when she left, he was just taking the piss out of me. You know, it was 4 or 5. I was bawling my eyes out, and he goes, "How is this little kid my grandson?" It's like, you know, tears pouring down my face, like, "I want to be with my mother." And finally he goes, "Well, you ain't going with your mother." And he went and he sat down in a chair. And I looked him dead in the eye, went over to the closet because it was in Michigan, so we had weather, dug into the back of the closet, found my big pair of snow boots, put them on, walked over to him and kicked the shit out of him in the shin.
Oh, no.
And he laughed his head off. He had a huge bruise on his leg. My mother came over. He was dying laughing. He goes, "That little son of a bitch might have a chance in this world."
There you go.
Because he's got something. He didn't lose all of the Puerto Rican. He's still got a 4th in there. He's ready to rock.
Puerto Rican. Can you do a Puerto Rican accent? I don't know what.
No, I can't. I honest to God will tell you. Mainly because he was kind of Puerto Rican through New York, so you know what I mean. Like he didn't speak Spanish, so he was first generation born in New York. But this is the thing, right? It's like the Puerto Rican accent. It's the only kind of Spanish I ever spent time around was Mexican Spanish because of family in El Paso, right? Which is where my grandfather is buried, you know, in the cemetery in El Paso, Texas, John Camacho. Right. And which has got to be one of the greatest Puerto Rican names you can get is John Camacho. It was Juan, of course, and then John, you know, when he came, you know, here, or when he was, you know, in the military, he just went by John. But it's one of those things, you know, it's like we come into this space and we've got a lot of different things that we're working on, but it's the excellence of the people who are around you. And when you need assistance, nobody does this stuff alone. You guys lift us up. You know what I mean? And nobody does this stuff alone. I was on, and just to talk about Nosfero for a second and talk about John Malin. When people I agree. I think John Malin is Iceman. That's how he flies, man. Cool as ice. Is that I was on Malin's show recently, and even on stream, he said, we've got to, because John he's going to take his time to look you up and down. And he said, sometime I got to have you on the show. Just come on by yourself. And we got to promote, Nosfero on here.
Yeah.
And that's like, but that comes from just working your tail off and proving yourself to people again and again and again, and letting them know you're serious, that you are ride or die, that you're not hiding what it is. There are real stakes for us here, you know, when we strike out on our own. And you guys are the people that we have counted on and that have been there for us for all of this. Every time you get the word out, every time you watch a stream, guys, listen, I got 1,000 subscribers that allowed me to have the chance to get monetized. Do you know what allowed me to get monetized? Watch hours. That's you guys being engaged and watching. It's not just clicking a button, it's being there. And hail Dan.
Right. Well, working for the big companies, DC Comics, Marvel, Dark Horse, all that stuff, they carry you somewhat. All I have to do to work there is be a good artist. I don't have to be a great businessman. I don't have to find customers or anything like that, because it's DC's job to sell the books, just my job to draw them, color them, whatever. And doing this, I'm doing everything. And I realize when I'm at my drawing table, which is right next to, this is my computer table where I color on this screen right here. And then I draw right over here. I have to perform when I'm drawing. I have to get it right. I cannot mess around. I cannot do a half-ass job. If I got to restart a page, then I got to restart a page. There is no, because, I asked Aaron Lepresti, David Williams, Gary Martin, and myself, we do that Players Club. Sometimes Sergio Cariello's there, and Dan Lawless, too. We do that Tuesday nights, this channel. And I said, hey, guys, when you're working in the mainstream, I hate to admit this because it's embarrassing, but you have to compromise, and I hate it. And they were like, oh, yeah. If they're only going to give me this much money and this much time, then they're going to get what they pay for. And, Gary said it like it was very compartmentalized in his head. But to me, it always bothered me because I want to make perfect, gorgeous art, but you just can't. But now what you guys have given me, you Comicsgate fans, what you've given me the opportunity to do my best, and I have to, because it's business to customer now. It's not, because my old business model was business to business. My business interface with DCs. I didn't really interface with the customers directly to make sales. But now it's like business to customer. I've got to perform, but it's an honor to do it. You know what I mean? So I'm drawing all day today. I'm working on Beef Law. Do you guys know about Beef Law? It's my next thing. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun.
Gotta talk about it.
And I'm sitting there redrawing panels, fixing things, doing the David Williams flip and trace method. And I'm doing my absolute best because it's just on a high wire without a net. It's just me and you guys, you fans, and I have to deliver because that is hard-earned money that you guys are forking over. So, the stakes are much higher now that I'm independent and higher for you, Sean, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I feel so alive as an artist.
I do too.
It's amazing.
And let me tell you something. You guys here in the chat, you're with Comicsgate because you're the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever let anybody tell you different.
Yeah.
Is that anybody can come over to, a beautiful campsite that's been laid out ahead of time for them and go and sit down. But it takes somebody to really set one up and have you guys be here and to build this beautiful thing, this industry called Comicsgate. It's what it is, guys.
Right. Absolutely. Let me I want to show off some of that. I think I showed some last week, but it's progressing nicely on Beef Law. Let's see. Let me add it to the stream here.
Right.
Beef Law, 1994, Hong Kong. Maximilian Volkov, his family, they moved to Hong Kong from Russia. The dad promised them a better life. Things haven't worked out. Max has nothing to do with his father and little brother anymore, and he fights in illegal underground kumites, not unlike one Jean-Claude Van Damme fighting in illegal tournaments like in Lionheart or anything. And when his father runs afoul of the Russian and Chinese mob that controls Hong Kong, Max is forced to fight against his will in deadly tournaments, and he's going to have to expose the mafia and the government to get free from being under their thumb. But can he survive the tournament long enough? So that's the basic premise of Beef Law. That's page 1. Here's page 2 and 3. This is a very David Williams-y page. David Williams helped me out with the layout on this one. And you guys, I haven't had more fun making a comic book ever. This is so much fun to me. And then real quick, today's work is we're working on page 4. The green screen might need a bit.
No, actually, it came through pretty well.
Okay. But
Nice.
yeah, here it is. So Max is getting blitzed in the face. When you're drawing a bunch of containers in the skyline of Hong Kong, you start asking yourself, why did I choose this location? That's a lot of details. I was on the phone with Dave today, and he was just laughing at me because I told him I was looking at pictures of downtown Hong Kong and all this stuff. I'm like, I should have set this thing in New Mexico near a prairie or something. I set it in Hong Kong.
I think about that all the time, man. All the time.
How many neon signs and buildings I'm going to have to draw? But again, you fans, you created a place for us where I can try my best to be excellent at this.
Yep. That's
so
right.
Thank you. This is so much fun.
Yeah. I mean, the difference between Comicsgate and other places at the end of the day, or I should say as the people who hate Comicsgate, is that they're very concerned about saying the wrong thing. And we're very concerned about doing the wrong thing, which is to say doing the wrong thing in terms of integrity. If you look good to your peers, but you're doing something really awful, that's not the God we pray to. It's that simple.
Right.
That's not what we're about. We're interested in doing the right thing and conducting ourselves with integrity. And a huge part of that means taking risk, but also taking responsibility. We don't have huge properties, and we don't think that there's some company that's going to have to bear the consequences,
right?
And that's, absolutely. That's why they call this Bloodsport game. Absolutely. And this is the thing for me, right? Is that when you think about it this way, and this is the big thing, I remember hearing Ben Shapiro talk about it, which is if you take on the risk, you should be able, you take on the majority of the risk, you should take on the majority of the reward. Well,
Absolutely.
what people want in a lot of these companies is they seem to want the majority of the reward, but none of the risk, none of the responsibility.
Right.
So a lot of our attitude is, Gabe and I, and why we're kindred spirits is, if I'm in a situation where I know it doesn't align with my values, I can sit around and say, oh, and I have the skills I have. Let's be real. Like when I got into Comicsgate, when I made this decision, one of the big parts of it was at the time, it was Ethan or John or somebody. And actually, John and I were saying this the other day to somebody, is that people were saying we need more great books. And while I may struggle sometimes with compliments, I'm reluctantly getting to the practicality of it. I knew I could make a beautiful book that would be a grace to Comicsgate and not a disgrace to Comicsgate. And so I said, I have to, like, it was a combination of a lot of things, but a big thing was I knew I could do this. I knew I could step up, and I knew I could get in there and make it happen. And it's the same thing with Gabe, but you can't just have the principles. Those are great. You've got to have them though, but you can't just have those. You got to have the principles, you have to have the skills, and you have to have the courage to answer for the risk when you step into the fray.
Right.
You know, because it's Shanth and Jetty art on everything. It's taking risks under your own name and getting rewards under your own name. But make no mistake, the risks are real. The risks are absolutely real financially and everything else, which is why, you know, getting monetized on YouTube and all the work that takes. I started my YouTube channel 3 or so years ago. Gabe started his years ago before this situation happened where he had to stand on principle. And it is when you're in it, the comfort I take from the experiences that I've had in Comicsgate. And I hate to talk this way about him because, you know, here's a lot. I was laughing. I sent him a chat where I said I just came in here to pay lip service to Comicsgate because he was ranting about people who pay lip service to these principles. It just made me laugh. But here's the deal.
All right.
Hearing how completely terrifying it was to Ethan and Andrea, and that Andrea and him were talking, what do we do? And you know, she said, I think we should pray. Like when you get pushed to that point, you get pushed to that wall, and it is terrifying where you're like, I am about to throw away all the security I have that took me decades to get to, my entire life to get to this point, because this is the right thing to do in my mind. I believe in this cause. I believe in this principle. It is terrifying. I wasn't joking about losing hair, by the way, since I've joined Comicsgate. I don't know if it's because I'm trying to fit in, but it's like, it is the legit stress of it. It is incredibly tough, but we do it because it's the right thing to do. And we work and we work and it's when you're streaming to one person or 0 people and you're still streaming and doing it every single, day or every other day for all those other years. And then you go, holy cow, 4 people are watching. Wow. Like that's it, man.
Yeah. I remember the first times I did live streams and I'm like, there were 7 people, there were 4 people. And I was like, so excited. And, it's really nice. It's so rewarding. It's like a fun Comic-Con, like maybe after party or dinner every time we do these. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But speaking of the risk and the danger and things, there's serious risk like financial ruin, walking away from established careers when you have to stand on principle. But I got a really ugly email on Monday and I wanted to show you guys how I handle stuff like this. So let me share my screen. I don't fight. My whole principle in life is like, stay out of things unless you have to do something. There's no sense in getting down in the mud with these people and going crazy and all that. And so I got this. I covered his name because none of you try to find this person. Do not harass them. Do not respond to them. Don't leave them alone. Okay. And I'll show you. I'll lead by example. Bible says, turn the other cheek. Turn the other cheek does not mean hit you on the right and give you the left and just let evil go. I'm Semitic. That means I'm Middle Eastern, Jewish, Arab, all that stuff. Yeah. In our cultures over there, the left hand is used for nothing but the bathroom. Is the filthy hand. So when Christ says, when they hit you on the right cheek, they'll be using their right hand. He says, then offer them your left cheek. They'd have to use their left hand, which is unacceptable to use it for anything. So the point, turn the other cheek, is weaponized by people who hate Christians as telling Christians to lay down and take everything evil. Absolutely not. That's not what it means. What it means is to defy someone and to show them how out of order they are. It's to use your head to fight with smarts instead of to become a monster like them. So this person said, I love how you couldn't even come up with unique names. He's criticizing Truth, Justice, American Way. This was on the fundraising page. And don't bother this person at all. I mean it. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you, don't bother him. We don't need trouble. Let's be nice. He said, I love how you couldn't even come up with unique names. Truth, Justice, and the American Way is Superman's oldest catchphrase. It's not. The idea that the people are turning on their heroes just because they don't trust them anymore for no reason, that's not the story. Love how much thought you put into this, too. Tell me, the American Way. So does he also speak out for the Second Amendment, how we keep the American way of children constantly, at schools? Awesome. I sure hope so. Tag me when your heroes finally get their own movie. Hopefully it can be as good as the 1978 Avengers movie. All in all, great dollar store alt-right propaganda, off-brand Justice League. Don't keep it up. So here's how you turn the cheek. Do I get vicious? Do I get crazy? Do I tell them to F off? Do I do weirdo stuff? All I did was this.
There you go.
It's dollar, not dollar. So, and it's just showing them, dude, you're out of control.
That's different than what I would do, man. My attitude would be, I'd say, hey, listen, man, if I wanted shit from you, I'd squeeze your head. But there's different ways to go about it, We were terrible when I was growing up, man. We were just awful, and when you're up in Boston, it gets even worse, up around the Boston area.
To me, it's important to have this sort of reaction, just playful and just listen, dude, I don't take you seriously. And if anything, I just pity you that you're getting this worked up and angry about whatever I'm doing. And it's important to do that because if I feed into his thing, if I mirror him, if I start to resonate with his evil and his bile and his hate, I'm no different. And I want him to stop that, or her, or whoever they are. I covered the name, so no one will bother this person. I don't want them doing this, not for me, whatever. I don't care about the comment. For them, this is bad for them to live this way. The hate, the anger, the blood pressure, the whatever. This isn't good for them. So to show them like, hey, dude, you're being ridiculous. Well,
sure, but
if we were talking face to face at a convention, you wouldn't do this. You know what I mean? And not because you're scared of me, but because there's no humanity through a computer screen almost. So I would encourage any of you out there, don't get in the mud with these people. You know what I mean?
There's a bigger problem out there, dude. You gotta acknowledge this, man. This is a big thing. What must it be like to live in a country of, over 350, I think we're 380 million people, right?
Right.
And think that just anybody you're walking by every day, it's a normal thing to commit an atrocity. It's actually the problem with moral relativism. When you look at every bad situation and you think, oh, we could all be that person in a heartbeat. No, actually we can't. You know what I mean? We're not all Jeffrey Dahmer or we're not that morning. It just depends on whether we were out of Cheerios, you maniacs. And there's an inherent nihilism that when somebody doesn't really understand, there's a difference between what Peterson talks about, right? Which is that you have to understand that in a certain difficult situation, you could be pushed into doing these things so that you have some humility and some humanity about things and not think that everybody is you're going to be the perfect hero in every story. That you could be tempted, you could be pushed, you could break, you could be one of those people who's just trying to do the right thing. But when I see people who commit individual acts of deranged, depraved malice, if that was the regular, average, everyday person, it would look so dramatically different outside. If people think it's bad now, they have no concept of this. So this person, these kinds of people are living in this utter terror of the fact that these things are normal because they're being told this is what life is. Life is all ugliness and awful. It's just degrees of ugly.
Well,
exactly.
What is the point of this? Is one of the best comic books, I think, beautifully illustrated, but masterfully written by the great Alan Moore. It's a shame he doesn't do more work. The point of Batman, the Killing Joke, for those of you that haven't read it, I don't know why you haven't read it, is the Joker is evil and he knows he's evil and all this crap. But he doesn't take any blame like every freaking narcissist out there. It's this happened to him and that happened to him and you don't understand and life wasn't fair. And that's why he's a deranged maniac. So he hurts Batgirl really bad, tortures Commissioner Gordon, trying to turn them into him basically. That's what he's trying to prove to himself and Batman and all them, that if someone just has a terrible day, they'll end up like the Joker, and it's BS. What I said earlier, what separates a boy from a man is the ability to emotionally regulate. That's what separates us from animals. Animals
Yep.
just have a feeling, an instinct, and then they just do it. We
Yep.
are not animals. We are not. We're men. We are women, and we have to overcome ourselves. We have to. We have to say, I want to do this. And we go, yeah, but it isn't right, so I'm not going to. I want to stay at DC Comics and make a bunch of money and join the SJW nonsense. I'm a Mexican Libyan. I could be the vice president of DC Comics right now just based off my race.
Yep.
If I just said the words, right? I don't have to believe them. If I just say them and I attack conservatives and attack this country, I could have written my own ticket at Warner Bros. I could do anything I want there. You
Yeah.
know, right before I left, they let me write, pencil, ink, color a story because of my race. Right before I left. Now I snuck a conservative message into it, and they still published it, which befuddles me. But you know, I had to overcome myself and say, you know what? Yes, I want job security and working on Superman and all that, not at the cost of humiliating my grandfather, my father, this country. I won't do it. So no, I had to overcome myself. I absolutely did.
So here's the line I got to read because I've got the book right here. I've got a student, former student of mine, great guy. These are the students that you go to work for, by the way,
Right.
that inspire you to go to work. You end up going to work for all of them, and that's part of the job. You know what I mean? It's not about you got to do the job, but when you get things like this, it's really touching. And this is the line. Incidentally, I spoke to Commissioner Gordon before I came in here. He's fine. Despite all your sick, vicious little games, he's as sane as he ever was. So maybe ordinary people don't just always crack. Maybe there isn't any need to crawl under a rock with all the other slimy things when trouble hits. Maybe it was just you all the time. And that's what he says to Joker.
Right.
I never forgot that when I was a kid because I needed to hear those words. Because in a world where people tell you that people do terrible things because terrible things happen to them, which, by the way, is in the sense that it's said is not always true at all. In fact, it's not true a large part of the time. There are vicious people who are spoiled narcissists who think that everything's awful's happened to them. Look at Amber Heard. People are going to try to explain that away. Do you know what I mean? She's a sociopath. And this is the thing about it is that no, it tells every person who's been through something, there is no, you're damaged, you're stained with awful, and that is bullshit. Let me tell you something, guys. If Nosferatu is about something, and I read that quote from the Count of Monte Cristo, you are not irreparably, you're not doomed to go down the road of vengeance and viciousness just because you've experienced those things. There's a difference between justice and revenge and vengeance. There's sometimes you've got to learn how to save your own soul from basically prevent, as Mike Tyson said, when this guy goes, yeah, man, when people piss me off and they do things to me, Mike, I never forget it. And Mike Tyson had the best response ever. He goes, that's great. If you always hold on to that, then the devil wins.
Right.
And I went, damn, Mike.
Yeah, that's some cold water right in the face.
Yeah, Mike doesn't kid around, man. He's seen things.
Yeah, we had a great response in the chat here about that guy insulting me. And I said, oh, it's dollar, not dollar. This is even better. So if it happens again, I would do this. If it were me, I would thank them for visiting the campaign page. Absolutely. But you get my point about turning the other cheek. You don't have to turn into, the Killing Joke, what I do with the image. I don't know. You don't have to turn into this. You don't have to. Just because I say this about life when it comes to heartbreak and absolute abject tragedy. Let me get serious here. Everybody gets it somehow. Sean, you've gotten it. I've gotten it. We've talked privately about some of the things in our lives. Everyone watching this stream right now, live or on replay, you've gotten it right in the throat, right in the eyes. You've heart broken to dust. Yet here you are. God is good. That's what I believe carries me forward is God. And you don't have to turn into a monster because something terrible happens.
Right.
You know what I mean? We get a new chance every day. We wake up. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, I'm laying in bed, is wonder how the alarm clock went off so fast. But the first thing I do is I pray, and I don't pray and ask for anything. I thank God for the day. That's what I do. I say, thank you for this day. You are the greatest. You're the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You're my God, and I just thank you for this. This day. I think if we get radically grateful in life, that it can take away so much of our hate and cynicism that's just always knocking on the door. We're always invited to do evil. I was at the grocery store with my wife, and we were talking about current events that are horrific that I'm not going to mention because YouTube's about it. And my theory on all this always is fathers. It's men.
Yeah.
We need loving, strong fathers. We don't just need a male that impregnated a woman under the same roof. That's not a father.
Mhm.
A father is there. He tells you what's right and wrong. He tells you he believes in you. He tells you when you're not doing your best and you know it's a bunch of BS. Your father holds you to account. And when you live up to his standards, you are validated. And then you go out into the world as an adult and you don't seek validation like so many weak, passive-aggressive people. Unfortunately for them, the abuse of neglect makes them seek validation. And I was telling my wife, it's so hard to be a man because every last evil thing I want is at my fingertips. Anything you can conjure up in your mind that you're not supposed to be up to, it's endorsed by society nowadays to live our truths and indulge, and life is all about pleasure. It's there all day, just knocking, just hey, Shant, what about having 6 beers for lunch, huh? Just all that.
We both know that knock isn't happening for us, okay? Like, we're both like, 'cause neither one of us drink. Like, we don't, like, this is the problem. Like, I totally get where you're going. It's more like the world going, cigarettes are neat, when you think about it. No, but it's like, but this is the thing too, right? And I think, I think about this a lot as far as what it's about. I'm thankful for a couple of things. One of the things I'm thankful for is and amen. One of the things I'm thankful for is that I had this beautiful combination. I had a combination of experiencing, certain kinds of prejudice.
Right.
And experiencing prejudice in a real way, not in a bullshit way people tell you about, right?
Right.
I'm talking about prejudice in a way to where you get to a point where you would give anything to look like everyone else.
Ooh.
You don't hear people talk about that very often.
Right.
But and not seeing it like in a cynicism, I hate them, but I wish I could be like that because that's the definition of excellence. And I'm tired of being different, tired of being singled out, right?
Right.
And then I also evolved into the state where you resent and hate people because of the things you experience. And then through reading, the teachings of Christ, the teachings of the Mahatma, teachings of Gandhi, teachings of various people who've been through horrific things. Most recently, the woman who escaped North Korea and Jordan Peterson was interviewing, which just ripped my heart out. And I said, if she's going to stand up, you know what I mean? I'm going to, I'm going to, like, I got no excuse.
Right.
But I had there's an opportunity few will ever be afforded in their lives. I found myself in a situation where my ability to exact prejudice and racist revenge on the quote tribal group that I feel or felt or that did or whatever had wronged me presented itself. And what I always liked to believe, which was that I would never do that if the shoe was on the other foot, I got to see that I actually would do the right thing.
Ooh.
And I would walk. And I would say to my students, anyone who teaches you that you aren't allowed to speak or you're evil because you're white is evil. And I said those words in a classroom. So I actually learned that. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for those things.
Wow.
I got to be honest. I'm not looking for more trials, God, if you're out there, you're listening. You know what I mean? But if I got to, it is what it is.
Right. Yeah. There's a story about that by Ray Bradbury in his collection called The Illustrated Man.
We lost Gabe again. He hit that darn back button. Gabe, where are you, brother? I've lost my wingman.
I hit the back button again when I was trying to click something else. Sorry.
I lost my wingman.
There's a book that addresses that by Ray Bradbury in The Illustrated Man. It's a short story called The Other Foot. Right and on. In this story, white people exile black people to Mars because they hate them so much. Mm-hmm. But then, centuries or decades go by, and the white people destroy the Earth so badly they have to come to Mars. And as the news gets to the black people on Mars that, hey, white people are coming to live with you, one of the characters like, oh, I can't wait. We're going to put them in the back of the bus. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then the other guy's like, no, man, we know what that felt like. We can't do that to them. It's a beautiful story. It's a short story, but yeah, definitely. If you can get your hands on Ray Bradbury's The Other Foot, I'm sure it's easy to find out there. It's a great thing about what Shant was talking about when the time comes and the revenge is right there in front of you, you got to say no, man. Because
I'd love to read it, but I don't read books by white people.
Oh, but yeah, we're not built. I mean, God says, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. We're not built
Yeah.
for revenge. It will blacken
Yep.
your soul to get revenge, man.
Absolutely will, man.
Because we've all taken revenge in life. You know what I mean? We've all
Don't,
been.
yeah. Don't go down. Don't listen.
And you
guys.
know how you feel after you do it. You feel filthy.
The
You feel
best.
like it. You feel like
I've got that. You know those Barnes and Noble collections they put out, the big, thick, like kind of leather bound editions that you can get at the bookstore. I got the Ray Bradbury one a while ago.
Okay.
A huge admirer of him because he was best friends with even Ray Harryhausen, another Ray.
Sure.
You know, the stop motion animator, and I love
Absolutely.
those guys.
Jason
Love
and the
those
Argonauts.
guys. Yeah,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
These guys are. Those are the kinds of friendships and fellowships that are born here. You know,
right
in these spaces, not in the studios. Bad white folks. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just my wife is the only good one, I guess.
Well, and I think, and let's I'm going to pick your brain about this a bit.
Yeah, sure.
We're both very, very mixed. If I go, and you know, most people are, but some people, they're white, and then they're 5 flavors of white. And so to me, that's not as mixed, but I could be speaking from ignorance here, because on my mother's side, we're Native American, we're Mexican, which is a combination of Native American and Spanish. Then we're also Basque. That's like northern Spain, France, the mountain there. And then my grandmother, my mom's mom, she's Mexican, Native American. And then her father was a Jew from Syria, I guess. And then my dad, we're Libyan, but my grandmother's from Turkey. I mean, she even has the tattoos from World War I, where they would tattoo the different groups of people in Turkey and all that. And, you know, and then my dad looks exactly like an Italian, like Carthage or something like that, you know. So, you know, I'm basically Mediterranean. So I say all that to say this: when you're totally mixed like that, and then I'm Christian, my mom is that side is Christian, but my dad and his whole family in Africa, my relatives there, they're all Muslim. So when you come from such a diverse background and all that, a lot of this identity politics is like foolish on its face from my lived experience of like, well, I'm Libyan,
actually,
I'm Libyan and Mexican, so
I don't know exactly. I think it's the same. It's the same politics of the old school Dixiecrats, man. It's anti-miscegenation. They don't want cultures mixing. They don't want cultures mixing. They say if you are white, actually they don't even say that. That's the funny. Well, actually they do. They say if you're white, you can't understand any experience but the white experience. That's where they limit it. But then they say if you're not black, you can't understand the black experience. If you're not this, you can't understand the thing. But then so we say, well, what happens if you mix people up? And that's when they quickly go into interracial couples as a fetish. And that's how you know what they're really about. When you look at Comicsgate, you see a lot of people who are celebrating and playing in the same playground, the same sandbox of creativity and Americanism. We're not for those things. And their belief on the other side, diversity, equity, and inclusion and social justice warriors, is apartheid. It's South African apartheid. It's separate but equal. We can't illustrate things that aren't our own people, but we're separate but equal.
Right.
And that image right there. That's what Comicsgate is.
Right.
It's looking over at the person next to you and saying, we're all in this together. When you sign up for this country, when you pledge allegiance to this country, which you are born into, but you are also responsible to learn about as the sovereign, as the governing body of this country, the primary one, you should know that Constitution. You should know these rules. And you should understand that you are sacrificing any allegiance to any other ethnic group or religious group. Your primary thing is to the United States. Your primary oath. You can worship and practice however you want to. That is a freedom that you have here in this country, but you owe allegiance to the fact that you cannot dictate to somebody else what they're allowed or not allowed to do based on their tribal background. That is a rule.
Yeah. I brought him up because I don't look like him. I mean, we're both very handsome.
Well, I mean, I do, but it's like, I understand that. Yeah.
I'm not a white guy. I'm not short. I don't have blue eyes or whatever. I don't know if he has light eyes, but my point is I relate to him 100%. And I relate to all these guys. I relate to this guy with the blonde hair. I relate to this guy. I'm not black. I mean, I am an African-American. Literally, my dad's from Africa. So I guess I'm African-American. But I relate to them all because it's about being human. And that's why I brought up all the different racial mix that I have and cultural mix. When you come from a background that's that diverse, and it's that diverse very recently. My father has a very, very thick Arab accent. You know what I mean? And he just, he got here in the 70s. And when you come from something that diverse and you see the differences don't matter. They're not real. You know, there is, if we really think about it geographically, there's no such place as Libya. We drew those lines on a map. We made that up. We made up Kentucky. We made it all up. Now we made it meaningful, but those distinctions, they're really just made up. And when you see these guys being brave, being powerful, being something you could dream of being, you relate to them 100%. I don't need to be blonde to understand what Iceman was telling Maverick. I get it on a human level. And to say that I don't understand him is racist. You're saying there's something about my brownness that I can't understand this blonde.
Shadowhawk Talks gets it right there, man. I'm the exact opposite, and I know exactly what you mean. What people don't understand about this whole thing, it's fascinating. There's certain kinds of people, and it's fine. It is what it is. Like, people like who you want to like. You know what I mean? It's the simplest thing. It's falling in love and having a relationship with somebody is its own complexity. You've already got the differences of the sexes, so there's a whole lot of other stuff. You know what I mean? And it's the most interesting thing in the world. But when I see my wife, who has got blonde hair and green eyes, and she has very fair skin, to me, she's exotic looking.
Sure.
To her, I am. And it's the same thing.
Right.
And I see so many people who have that thing. Now, I meet couples all the time where they look the same. Like, they're from maybe same ethnic background, they make whatever. That's totally fine. I don't look at them and go, boy, you're racist.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't, that's crazy. It's crazy talk. But I do think that it is very disturbing that on one particular side of things right now, on the far left, that they define the idea of different kinds of people getting together within Marxist power dynamics, and they call it a fetish. That is so offensive.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, sorry, folks, it's not a kink, you weirdos. You get what I'm saying? It's nuts.
Right.
Absolutely nuts.
Yeah. I just, I thank God that I have such a diverse background to me, because it helps me cut through a lot of that nonsense where I don't have to argue it in my head and go, maybe they have a point. Like, they don't have a point. There's no difference between me and a black guy, me and a Chinese guy. This is made up. It's nonsense. We're all just human beings. We all want the same things. We're all striving for the same stuff. And our experiences are largely the same. Largely. There's specific differences, you know, depending on where you live, what country, the laws. But in general, the human experience is the human experience. And again, to try and tell me that I don't understand the brotherhood between Maverick and Goose and the loss there.
Yep.
Because, what? Because they're white? I don't understand. It's insane. I mean, if you want to get granular about it, I suppose that I'm white if the Italians ruled Libya and the Arabs took over Spain for a bit, and I am Spanish because I'm Mexican, and Spaniards are white. You know what I mean? Even though we associate Spanish with Mexican in our country, but if you really, I mean, a Spaniard is a white person. So I suppose I'm white to some degree. So does that 5% or 10%, does that part understand Iceman? It's all foolishness. All of this Marxism and dividing, right? It's all to me, it's laughably stupid. You know, it's I don't know. So
do me a solid and share that window, because I got to share this.
Which one?
This is one of my favorite things. You guys have all seen it. That one right there. I got to share it. By the way, you know, let me just get through this. This is amazing. This is Ask Lemmy. Black kid who likes metal asks Lemmy I know what it is, but I can never pronounce it right. Too many vowels, but I know his bass playing and his singing. So here you go. I love this because this is the best answer in the world. I hope the audio is good enough for you guys.
Headbanger and guitar player for 6.5 years. I did groups. Wait a minute, 16.5. Starting at 10.5. Yeah, all right. I did groups like Metallica, Slayer, Iron Maiden, Testament, Megadeth. No Motorhead, I see. Love, hate, just about any good kick-ass metal band. My problem is, since I'm black, other blacks put me down and say that I'm a disgrace to the colour. Tell them to shove it, boy. Jimi Hendrix did all right, remember? Pisses me off because my dad feels the same way. Most of the time we just tell these people to die off, but I don't know how to handle my dad. My mum is real cool about it. Well, women usually have more sense than men, tell it. But what should I do about my dad? All right, you weatherman, because you might not be watching the TV because there's white people on it, you know. Being like that about another colour is the same as Hitler was about being Jewish and about other colours. You cannot be just one colour. If the bloody thing is ever going to work out properly, then we all have to intermarry and screw each other blind and get to be coffee-ish. But then we'd still find people that were lighter than those guys, right? You can't win with that one, but you can win by just doing it. Tell them to go to hell, right? They want to keep you safe and warm in the black community. And if the black community can't handle you, shove them. Go someplace else. Little Richard, when he had his first hits, he was ostracized completely, an outcast by the blacks. They all said, oh, he's sold out. He didn't sell out. He was playing the music he liked and people liked it. You know, should you be penalized for giving people joy? Screw them. Do what you want.
Damn right.
I love
guys
it.
know what I mean?
My grandfather went through a similar thing. They were poor Mexicans in Greeley, Colorado. He went to the 3rd grade, Great Depression, World War II, all that. He opened a Mexican restaurant in 1954, La Famosa Tortilla Factory. They were so successful, blew up, made a lot of money. They were the #1 tortilla distributor from Colorado to the West Coast in the 60s. Out here, we have a grocery store called Safeway, and in California, it's called Vons. It's a huge chain all up and down the West. I'm sure it's across America by now. But they were very wealthy in the 60s. And he said the Mexican community rejected my family once they had some money. Like, oh, you think you're white now. You think you're too good for us and all this stuff. And it's insane stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's totally insane. So I feel sorry for that. And for I don't know how that came across for you, the audience out there watching Shantanai, but I could hear Lemmy talking. The gist of that video, if the audio was bad, was it was a young man who was black, wrote to Lemmy and said, hey, I'm a headbanger. I love metal. I love you guys. And the black community is giving me crap about it. What do I do? And he told him, that's racist thinking, and tell them to go screw if they don't like you listening to this. So, it just reminded me.
And that man grew up to be Eric July. No, that's not true. That's not true. It wasn't. It wasn't Eric. But no, but listen, guys, this is the big thing. I will tell you this. In my case, and I can't speak for anybody else, it is, and Hale, absolutely.
Yeah.
It is not an accident that this kid who loves his country, and at least when I was growing up, felt like I always had something I had to prove about how much I love this country and how much I belong, ended up being so passionate and ride or die about comics, the most American of art forms, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's why I love comics. I love comics with the passion of 1,000 burning suns for a reason. It's because it is the artistic, child. It is the visual, linguistic, that no matter what anybody else says, where it comes from, blah, blah. Even Osamu Tezuka was influenced by Disney Comics. And he is the father of real modern manga, what we call manga.
Right.
We're not going to go back to Egypt. We're going to deal with reality. It's an American art form, and that is why we're here.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. To talk to the video I showed earlier, Grandpa Rocky. Yeah. He's a mostly Italian, partially Irish man with striking blue-gray eyes. And for him to tell me that I'm a real American, it is, you don't ever want to be a victim that's weak, but it is a little hard to look like this. I am handsome, but with all the Gulf War and the Afghanistan war, and I have been pulled out of line at the airport more often than other people. It does happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes people will ask you, El Taib, what's that? You tell them what you're allowed. It means servant of God in Arabic. That's what it means. And you tell them, oh, it's Arabic. My dad's from Libya. And every, 50th person, they'll be like, you'll see like fear or revulsion in their eyes. And it's not a racist country. America's the least racist country on earth. But there are people out there that are funny or taken aback. And I think you and I, Sean, you are looking for meaning. You're looking for a place in this culture. And it's so rewarding to know that all I have to do is work hard, be a good father, play by the rules, serve my God, pay my taxes. And the people here, no matter what color they are, they'll accept us. And we're part of the gang. We're part of the crew. It's so awesome.
I tell people this
here we are together as Americans playing this great volleyball game as teammates together, And we're going to rip our shirts off, Sean.
That's right. Let me tell you this. I'm going to goose it. I'm going to keep that shirt on. But let me tell you this. My people came to this country oftentimes with less than $100 in their pocket and one dream: white women. But they also
Well, that's not what you told me before the show. You told me, and I quote, "big butt white women." That's what you did.
That's exactly right. We said if you drop them, we're gonna pick them up. We got this, dog. We got this.
Oh my God. Oh, I love how we're on the same page constantly. Louis Filet, the corporate press did what they did to my grandfather, like being haters on my grandfather. The corporate press did to the guy who owns Goya. It's a Mexican food company, because he was a patriot and worked with Trump.
I know.
And they printed articles in Spanish-speaking papers calling him a white and a sellout. You see, and that's I think that's something I have to deal with in my community of like talking to other Arabic people and some Mexican people, and some of them they do have like Trump derangement syndrome because they've been told all this by the media that, oh yeah, it's the white man, they're trying to get you and this and that, and it's hard to work against that. It's like trying to push back the ocean because there's so much of that propaganda.
If you only know a handful of people, then those are the handful of people that's going to define you. So if the only thing you think about all day, and there's a great comedian who did a great thing about this, where he said, you know, people who are defined by Trump don't know what to do now that he's not president. And this is the crazy thing about it, right? I'm defined by Gil Elfgren. I'm defined by Todd McFarlane. Do you know what I mean? I'm defined by, oh my gosh, Steranko, yeah, but I'm defined by Frank Frazetta. Right. I'm defined by Andrew Zorn. I'm defined by Ralph McCory. I'm defined by Kevin Eastman. I'm defined by Peter Laird. I'm defined by all of these. Dave Stevens. You go down the list. That's what I'm defined by. When you buy Nosfero, you're going to find that there are too many influences. Literature. I'm defined by H.P. Lovecraft. I'm defined by Alexandre Dumas. I'm defined by, Arthur Conan Doyle. I'm defined by all of these things. And you will find at the core, you will see enough different things for that to where you can't walk away from any of the experiences you're going to have with our work and get just one narrow political opinion. I feel bad for the life lived in that political, thing, because I can't define the politics of what I feel when my daughter, who just got her license recently, we get a crying call from her and we are relieved to find out that it's because the car battery died because she left the headlights on. And not for any other reason, which is that first moment as a parent when you get that phone call. What's the politics
the crying
of that?
Phone call should be illegal. Oh,
exactly. It should be illegal, right? But what's the politics of that? There's no politics. It's the love of a parent for their child.
Right.
And the liberties are what make it beautiful in this country. And that's it, man.
Yeah. I like this comment here. Bob Newfart, one of the great screen names. I like.
Absolutely.
Not defined by these bullshit gas prices.
Yeah.
Oh,
Amen.
my friend. You guys, I live in the belly of the beast. California, for those who don't know, has its own gasoline, a special blend that just happens to cost more. And we also have the highest gasoline taxes, like almost 50 cents a gallon added to the price in taxes. You still hit the same pothole every day driving. But
I thought you were going to say a special blend.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't partake.
I don't either, but that's for all my brothers and sisters who do. You know who you are.
I mean, I don't think anyone should be in jail for it, but whatever. Gasoline, I think it's someone sent a picture from Los Angeles. It was over $7. I know, right? Around where I live, the premium is like over $6 now. So we're like at the high fives and into the sixes now for just regular gas.
Right on.
It's insane. So yeah, thank goodness my wife and I both work at home, so we don't have to drive too much. Oh, geez. Well, I don't know. I think we did a lot here.
I think we did, guys. I hope it was great for you guys.
Movie. Absolutely. An all-time favorite, this movie. It inspires us all to be great. It inspires us to overcome ourselves. Maverick, he was just that. He was a maverick, didn't know how to be a team player. He went through some hard lessons, but the point is, don't judge people. I'll leave you with this. Don't judge people on their mistakes. Judge them on how they recover from it. When a lesson is presented to you in life and you get a bloody lip, that's okay. We all get it. But how do you respond? That's what's going to separate us from the animals, right? That's what separates us from being selfish monsters. So you got anything else for him, Sean? Because I think
that's perfect.
We're over 2 hours.
Right on.
So next week, get your ass to Mars.
That's right.
Time for Total Recall, boys and girls.
That's right,
so
baby.
Can you do an Arnold, eyes bugging out and just making that Arnold noise?
Sure.
So won't be in 2 weeks. It'll be in 1 week.
was weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. This was a delight. We love you. Top Gun.
Yeah.
Go see Top Gun Maverick. I think they're not paying me to say that. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be awesome. Tom Cruise is so reliable. And we will
Yeah.
see you Double Impact next Wednesday night, 7 p.m.